Hey Sharon, how you doing?
Good. Now that you've finished shoveling the snow, we can have another conversation.
It's cold out there today. I'm joking. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Uh, so one of the things that I was thinking about asking you is, when can you tell that it's time to get into the housing market? Like, what are the indicators that the time is right?
Okay. Yeah, there's actually quite a few. But on Sunday, and most Sundays, by the way, I do send out a newsletter, and I put in some pre-construction stuff, and I also put in things just like what you're asking. And I had just done an article actually on the 6 indicators that it may be time to buy a house. So number one is if you have a stable income and you're financially ready. Now it seems like like they're not complicated things, right? So it's right there in front of you. So one, that you have a stable income, you're financially ready, you understand, you've educated yourself. Maybe they've sat down, hopefully, and talked with us, and you understand the responsibility of a mortgage payment, property taxes, maintenance fees, maintenance costs, all the utilities and all of that fun stuff, the cost of running a home. Number two, a very good indicator that it may be time to buy a home if you're financially ready. Number one always stays there, is because of the increasing rental costs. Just this last year alone, rent 23% increase. You take your mortgage, you know what you're paying. If you're taking a 5-year mortgage, you know what you're paying the next 5 years, that kind of thing. And you're paying it to your mortgage. You are paying someone's mortgage. The question is, whose mortgage are you paying? And so, because of the increased rental costs, a lot of people are getting bumped out of their homes. They rent here for a year, and the landlord says, hey, I need the place back. And now you've got a 23% bump in what you have to pay at the next place. And your finances can't keep going like that. So stable income, financial readiness, increased rental costs can make you realize it's time to make that decision. Low interest rates. And I know this one gets met with a little bit of skepticism, but it is still low interest rates where we are in the market with the rate of inflation, where interest rates used to be. We do like to look at that, but we are still at pretty much just level, right? So the interest rates still are low, and they will fluctuate a bit as you keep reminding us all. So lower interest rates is still an excellent time. If it's a favorable market condition, and it has been the last 6 months very favorable towards buyers. There is some shift right now where sellers are gaining a little bit of ground, but it is still incredibly great buyer's market. There's not a lot of competition. There are some bids, but there's not a lot of competition. And they can go out and pick up a house. They can take their time. They can put in conditions, might be able to negotiate a little bit off. So certainly favorable market condition. Another indicator is time to buy a house. Number 5 is a change in personal circumstances. If you've gotten married, you need more space. If you having a baby, you need more space. Maybe now you're both working from home and you both need an office and you need more space. Maybe your parents or your in-laws are moving in with you, or you need more space. So changes in personal circumstances. And the 6th one, the reason a good indicator for you to buy is, and I have to put it in, the long-term investment. So if you're looking at the long-term investment, buying a house, fantastic choice in terms of increasing your equity and a property appreciating in value. And then for free, I will give you a number 7, even though I only told you there were 6. Number 7 is for those that really like to have backyard parties and need to have that private backyard for the barbecue and maybe even a pool. I don't know. So if you're one of those and you don't want to share it with the tenant on the next floor or share it in a communal space like at a condo building, then it may also be time to, get into the market. So I'm hoping that will help people keep their heads on straight and realize these things still are guiding lights in terms of when I can and should buy a house.
A few points I just wanted to elaborate
Yes.
on. Just put on my financial planning hat
Yes.
for a minute here. You were talking about the investment aspect of a home.
Yeah.
And I should, at least currently, the way taxation laws are, your principal residence, and you can actually say which is your principal residence if you have multiple residences. You don't actually have to, it doesn't actually have to be the one that you spend most of your time in.
Interesting.
Your principal residence is tax-free. There's no capital gains on the
Right.
sale of your principal residence. So as an investment, that is impossible to beat. You can have tax sheltering by putting it into an RSP, but when the money comes out, it's taxable at that point. I suppose a tax-free savings account, because there are no taxes on that. However, you're very limited on how much you can put into a tax-free savings house.
Yeah.
Tax-free savings account. A house, on the other hand, you know, that's all the capital gains, no tax whatsoever.
Yeah.
So,
and there's no limit. The market is dictating the value of the increase anyway, so there's no limit on how much it can increase, and it increases at the tax-free rate.
Well, I mean, lately houses have been going up like crazy. I mean, they've taken a bit of a pause because of the interest rates.
Yeah.
But like, look what a house cost in 1975 or whatever. People that are selling their houses,
$30,000.
Yeah, and they're selling them now for what, like $2 million?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible to get that sort of rate of return. And even if you did, you'd probably be losing half of it to taxes, right? So, yeah, and of course you have to live somewhere, so that offsets your rental costs by owning a house. So yeah, as a financial planner, I can't, you know, having a principal residence, that's got to be the first thing that you can do that's going to really secure your future. The other thing I wanted to talk about is interest rates. So there is a concept in financial planning referred to as the real rate of return, and basically it's like when you're buying an investment, you have to factor in things like taxes and inflation to see what you're really getting. Because, for example, if you buy a GIC and you're getting 3% interest, but then the government takes half of that as taxes, that leaves 1.5%, and inflation, say 5%. Well, you've actually got a negative rate of return. You have less buying power at the beginning of next year than you did before you bought the GIC.
Yes.
So when you look at the fact that inflation is like 6 or 7%, and you can still get an interest rate below 5%, it's actually like the real rate of return on that is, you know, it's free money really, and you also get the appreciation of the value of the house.
Yes.
So, which is, as we discovered, tax free. So yeah, it's really one of the best times I think right now to buy, because interest rates could also go down in the future.
Yeah.
And if you're buying as an investor, the higher interest rate is a bigger tax write-off. So, whereas, so yeah, it's a really good market, because you were mentioning the 23% increase for renters. If you were to want to become a landlord right now, you can buy cheaper than normal, have a higher tax write-off from the interest rates, and get an incredible yield. So
So in other words, the right time to buy a house is still now. Still a lot of great reasons to do so. And if you're not quite ready and you need some guidance and need some help, we encourage you to come talk to us, because Rick, you and I can both give some guidance in helping get people prepared or better prepared to be able to make that purchase, right?
Oh, for sure. Well, as you were saying about your first point about being financially mature enough, I can take a look at your finances and get you pre-qualified for a mortgage, so you can see what you can afford. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say what you can afford, what you can qualify for, because probably actually afford more than the government will let them buy. But anyways.
And also, if they have any questions on, you know, credit reports, and maybe we can do a chat on that another time, some of the things they can look for on a credit report, and in terms of building it and making sure they've got their best foot forward, because that piece of paper is very it's gold.
100%.
Right. Anyway, Rick, nice chatting with you.
Always a pleasure.